I've been doing some work on the little rusting. The paint strip has gone on now, so there's no going back. There's so many different coats of paint on the engine. I was hoping to strip it back to the original. Things like the carburettor are still in the original paint, which would have cleaned up nicely. But the more I've tried to strip back areas of the new paint, the more red oxide primer I find, and it's going to look quite unpleasant. Been doing some work on the oily bits of the engine, getting them usable again and degreased. The crank is cleaned up very well. There are a few burrs on the shafts, but I've taken them out with a needle file, very carefully put it into round again, and polished up the journals. There were lots of burrs and dings on the front of the crankshaft. It made it quite difficult to get the front bearing off, so I spent quite some time just taking off the high spots, but it's cleaned up well. Connecting rod is in nice condition. No need for a new small end bush, that's perfectly good. It looks a bit grubby, there's some carbon deposit I suppose, but I shan't spend too much time polishing that. I don't want to get any abrasive material in that really. The oil dipper is loose. I think it's taken a hit at some point. I've just soldered it back in place. The large main bearing from the crank, the white metal one, is perfectly good. I can use that again with very little wear in it. And the bronze one equally as good. Unfortunately the big end bearing is in a bit of a state. It's obviously been cracked for some time. It's a perfectly clean break on the top shell, and when I pushed the rod up the cylinder to take the piston out, this piece dropped out and plopped into the sump. Much as I'd like to make a new white metal bearing, I'm probably going to make a bronze one, exactly the same style, a pair of shells, but in soft lead bronze. I will at some point try and learn to make white metal bearings, but I know I can work with the bronze. Lots of bits and pieces I've been cleaning up. The valves are going to need some attention. Lots of wear in the valve guides, which is the only part of this engine that's really worn, which is a bit odd. I think it's an engine that's done a lot of short runs. The governor linkage was seized up. The usual thing, the pin at the top was stuck, so I spent a bit of time cleaning that up. Got it nice and free now. This linkage here is not quite free. I think there's a little burr on the shaft, so I shall clean that up to make sure the governor works efficiently. But everything else is now good, and I've faced and re-knurled the adjuster screw, or adjuster nut. Just looks a bit nicer. I finished making the gear for the magneto idler, which I'm quite pleased with. Piston rings all came off intact, and they're in really nice condition, and they're still within usable tolerance, so I should definitely use those again. Standard size piston, and it's cleaned up very well. Perhaps a little bit of a polish needed, but nothing really wrong with it at all. Apart from a bit of paint stripping, today's job is to make up a little tool to remove the jet. See so many people try and take them out with jets, with pliers, and often happens on Wolseley's, and they get wrecked. Wolseley's use a very similar jet and style of carburettor. There's no way I'm getting anything in there to remove that without breaking it. It's been in there a very long time, so I'm going to make up a little spanner and we'll have a go at getting it out. Whether it will move or not, that's another thing. What I need to do is get all the brass components out, and that will then allow me to put this in a tank of a very strong cleaning solution which will get rid of that rust, take all the paint off with it, but it unfortunately attacks brass components. So I've roughed out what I want and found some bits of tool steel that will do. A piece for the main part of the tool and some smaller gauge for the Tommy bar. Basically it's just got to go through that hole onto the square jet, which actually measures 3/16. A bit tricky getting in there to measure it, so I got a scabby old pair of dividers and just ground them to a finer point, and took a measurement about 185, I think it was. That's the actual measurement of 3/16, which is what it's most likely to be. So here I've got my little rotary table set up on the surface plate. What I'm going to do is strike lines on the end of the piece of tool steel that I'm using for this job to mark out the square that I'm going to mill. And what I'm first doing is finding the centre, or finding the centre height from table to centre of this piece of bar with the height gauge, which said to make a new tip for that, and I harden it. It was actually set up for measuring underneath a vertical surface, which is a bit unusual. I've done that and calibrated the scale to it. So I'm just going to take that centre height reading, and then what I can do is halve 187.5 thousandths, which is 3/16. Halve that, set the height gauge to it, and using the divisions on the table here, I can, at 90 degrees, strike a line across the end of the piece of bar, and that will mark out the square that I'm going to mill. I can check that measurement, of course, once I've done that, and I can then punch mark the corners using 20 thousandths drill reasonably accurate corners. That way when I put the end mill in there, I've basically just got to mill around the lines. I will of course use the gauges on the machine to try and get it as accurate as I can, but for what it is, that should be a reasonable way of doing it. So just to find the centre height, I've cut an inch long piece of tool steel, spot drilled it very slightly, and I can then line up the end of the height gauge with it, strike a line across, and see that I've got a good centre. Taking that measurement and then adding the half 3/16 to it, or subtracting, whichever. Should of course use proper marker blue for this, but in the absence of which, a bit of marker pen, felt marker, does just as well. In emergency situations I've done bearings like that as well. Can be done. Not quite the proper thing. Undo it. So with that set as it is, I now turn this through 180 degrees. In fact, really we need to do it every 90, don't we? So we'll go around in 90 degree stages, I think, rather than opposites. $180. I've been thinking about drilling this dial on the rotary table and boring and reaming some holes in it for pins, so it can accurately be set with pins rather than on the visual dial. Obviously leaves a little bit to be desired. 270 next, I think. It seems to have gone reasonably well. So you can just see the corners, just to give an idea of scale, and I'll punch mark those and put about a 20,000ths drill down them, give me the corners. And then, as you can see, there's not going to be a great deal of milling left to do then. Could even do it with a needle file if I wanted, but we'll set it up and mill it. Should get a nicer finish, I think. So I'm just in the process of setting up the milling slide, and as you can see, I've got the work set up in a V-block, which is shimmed in the milling vise. So I'm just adjusting it so there's no, so the bar is actually level to the bedways. So the next one to do is to turn the clock round and put it at 90 degrees on the back of the bar, and we can then set the milling slide at 90 degrees to the bedways. So we know that's now set square to the bedways. So the next thing to do is to put the collet chuck on the spindle, and then line up the first of the holes, and I think I'll probably just spot drill them with a very small spot drill. Probably got one somewhere that will do. Yeah, it's a really tiny one there, so that'll do quite nicely. And we can then put, I think that's the smallest drill. I'll measure it, it looks about 30,000ths or so. 36.5, it's almost a millimetre, so I'd kind of like to have put a smaller drill through, but I think that's the smallest I've got, so that'll have to do. Set up a stop with that clamp, very lightly clamped on the bedways. It's going to take a little while, but just ease the drill through, don't want to break it. And there is a result of 20 minutes or so careful drilling. My thumb for scale. They seem to measure up 90 degrees to one another. I'm not thrilled with how it's turned out, but it is at least square and the right size, so I think in hindsight what I should have done is drilled the hole slightly further in. Anyway, it does work. So what I want to do now is mill a flat and drill through, and I can put a little Tommy bar on it. So what I'm doing here with the clock in the collet chuck is just finding the centre of this, running the milling vise up and down. I'm just going to drill in the centre where the gap is in the vise. I'm going to put a hole through for this here, which is 1/4 inch, and I'll probably put a reamer through as well. Here we are. I just drilled through and ringed 1/4 inch for that bar. It's a nice snug fit, and there's a little 2BA grub screw there to retain it. Yeah, seems to have turned out alright. Like I say, I think next time I'll put the holes for the corners slightly closer in to make it a bit neater.